one of the biggest things that's lifted me through those difficult times is turning my focus onto other people. Like it's so easy to dwell in what you're going through. And if you will turn your focus to lifting others up during that time, it's crazy how you soon start to feel a lot better and you think you're actually helping others, but really it's helping you. And
Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Thick Thighs Save Lives podcast. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Rachel. We have such a crazy treat for you guys today. You guys, we have a snack, actually. We have one of the most accomplished women's basketball players in history on the podcast today. It is a big deal. Jackie Stiles is with us today. Jackie, welcome.
oh, thank you so much for having me on. Really, after that incredible introduction, you're making me blush. But no, I appreciate all you guys do. You're touching a lot of lives, that's for sure.
Thank
Well,
you.
wait, I haven't even given her accolades yet. Oh my God, you're about to blush hearing about all the things you have done. If you guys are not familiar with Jackie, she is one of the most incredible athletes. I'm just going to say athletes because she wasn't even just incredible in the sport that she's most known for in basketball. She was also an extremely accomplished track athlete and a tennis player. So, I mean, her athletic ability is just something that we haven't seen in women's sports very much. She is an all-time leading scorer in Division I basketball with 3,393 points. She held that record for 16 seasons and was or 16 years and was the first ever Division I basketball player in the women's game to score more than 1,000 points in a single season. Like beyond. So beyond. 3-time Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, 56 points in a single game. That's fourth all time in Division I. Fourth round draft pick in the WNBA, a 2001 WNBA Rookie of the Year, a WNBA All-Star, and she is now in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. And if that isn't cool enough, she also has 2 statues made of her.
I just love that you have 2 statues.
Jackie, what statues made of them?
I don't know. It used to be really embarrassing when I worked on Missouri State's campus, and our entry to our offices, I had to walk right by it every single morning. I'm like, this is really an odd feeling. I never imagined having a statue.
It's like with other people, yeah, that's me. I mean, not one statue also. Like most people definitely do not have one statue, but she's got 2. And of course, an incredible documentary, The Jackie Stiles Story, Anything is Possible, which depicts your story as a small Kansas town girl, 5'8", in a population, coming from a town of population of 600 people, and made it all the way to the WNBA. It's unreal.
I had to double check that 600 because I was like, is that a real?
Are they missing a 0?
No.
I thought we were missing a 0, and I literally side Googled it. I was like, who gave me this information?
This can't be accurate. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that exists.
Yeah. Oh, it's a different way of life for sure. Yeah.
When I was watching the documentary and they were saying about other people coming to scout Jackie when she was in high school, they were saying like usually the scouts will like take, the player and the parents out to dinner or whatever, but her town didn't have a restaurant.
Yeah.
So I had literally it was like 18 home visits in 19 days where the college could come in and tell us like what they had to offer. And so I was doing cross country and tennis at that time. So it was just so busy. And so my mom literally cooked dinner for every single one of these coaches because we didn't have a restaurant. And then it kind of became a community event where people were bringing over casseroles and different things to help out. But yeah, it was wild, but I still cringe. So for the basketball fans listening, Gino Ariema, who was one of the best women's coaches of all time, and coaches at Connecticut. Well, he's just he's Italian, and so my mom thinks it's going to be a great idea to make her spaghetti and meatballs. Now, I love my mom's spaghetti and meatballs, but I mean, he's had the best in
He's
the world, but he
Italian.
did, yeah, he's Italian, but he ate it. So, but no, it was quite an experience having all those coaches come to Little Claflin. And actually, we're 2 hours from the big airport. And so a lot of times they were flying into Great Bend, which is like 30 minutes from Claflin. And at that time, they only had one rental car there. And so these coaches were trading off the same rental car. We'd see this white rental car day after day, just, in front of our house. So it was a wild experience for Claflin for sure. So
I cannot even imagine the one rental car gets me. So obviously you are for sure the sweetheart of that town. And it's just like such a like heartwarming story to think of like a community come together behind a woman athlete. Like it's just like that's everything. And like the example for little girls of like their parents cooking things and bringing over to your house because these college coaches are coming because you're the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, it's just so okay. You're 5'8", you're from a town with 600 people. How in the hell do you become the leading scorer in women's college basketball and make it to the WNBA? How does this happen?
Well, first of all, it only happens with a team of incredible people that I share all of the, things that I've ever accomplished with them because I couldn't have done it alone. That's for sure. But it started with my dad because, he was a coach and he coached the varsity boys and I would follow him to the gym and he'd show me a fundamental and I just couldn't wait to show him that I could master it. And I actually told my second grade teacher I was going to play professional basketball one day. And that was before the WNBA even existed. We could go overseas at that time, but I just from a really young age knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I think a big part of that was my dad and following him to the gym. But I would sit through coaching clinics with them. I couldn't get enough of it. I loved it. And I'll never forget we had to trace ourselves like you would trace yourself out of paper and then color it in and your parents would come see it at an open house. Well, I drew a basketball in my hand, so my parents knew which one I was because I had the basketball in my hands. It just was obsessed from a young age. And then I get asked all the time, like, what's the biggest key to your success? And if I had to pick one thing, it's hands down, it's work ethic. And, I'm a growth mindset person. Yes, I've never been walking around and no one's ever said to me, you must play professional basketball. I have never heard that. I mean, I just ran a camp this past weekend and they couldn't find me because I blended in with the campers. Most of them are bigger than me. And so, but if you are willing to work and you work even when it's hard and you go through those tough times and if you continue to work day after day, incredible things can happen. I just think that my story is relatable. If they think, oh gosh, if she can do it, then I can. And so I just was very fortunate to have a great support system early on, and then I developed that work ethic from my parents. My mom worked 2 and 3 jobs to send me to different camps, and my dad was the coach, so I was very fortunate to learn the importance of a work ethic and have incredible support.
Yeah. I mean, that was the most amazing thing that stood out about, what we've learned about your story so far. And guys, if you haven't watched the documentary, like you should totally do it. My whole family has watched it now because it's been a family affair. But it was really incredible to watch and I'm so glad that you said before we started this episode that you didn't know what they were going to do with the documentary and like how they were going to kind of depict some highlights of your life, which is a really scary thing, but something that stood out with every person talking about you, with just hearing you talk, was your work ethic. And just from a young age, like how much that shined through in everything that you did. I mean, there was this legendary 1,000 shots a day. Those are made shots
Yeah.
a day, that stood out to me, and I was like, 1,000? Again, I'm like fact checking my zeros, to make sure I understood that you were taking 1,000 shots a day in pursuit of your dreams. And I just wanted to ask you, like, what drives you? Like, what you've started with basketball, and obviously that's continued, but that's really trickled into so many different aspects of your life with what you
Yeah,
do.
no, that's a great question. And early on, like, my internal goal was I wanted to be the best that ever played the game. And that sounds crazy. I never voiced that out loud, but I was like, I'm not going to take a day off because other people take days off, and I want to be better. I want to, set the standard, which is absolutely crazy now looking back. And I was nowhere near, the best player to ever play, but that was my internal goal. And, different things, motivated me along the way. One, I'm just super competitive. I've always wondered, are you born with that, or, do you develop that? But like, I just hate to lose, and something just ignites in me. And, part of that drive was just doing whatever it took to help the team win. And, I just wanted to make myself the best I could be so I could make my team better. But also, I truly think you can only accomplish something really special if you have a reason that's bigger than yourself. And a lot of people don't know this, but I lost my baby sister when I was 12. And at that moment, I said, you know what? I am going to dedicate all my accomplishments to her. And so it was easier for me to spend extra time in the gym because I had that reason. I wanted to honor her with what I accomplished because she didn't get that chance. And so that really drove me early on in my career. And now, in the second half of my life, it's not so much about success, it's about significance. And so many people sacrificed so I could live out my dreams. And now, how can I align my gifts and help the most, amount of people? And I just truly believe our greatest legacy is every human life we can impact for the better. So I really, for the first time, feel like I've found that professionally, where I travel around to small towns and I do basketball camps because they're not used to having the opportunities come to them. And so I still get the basketball piece. And then I've always had a huge love of fitness. Like, my college teammates said I would be some fitness guru one day, which I spent 10 years in college coaching, and I finally found my way into fitness. And I jumped off a cliff and opened my first business. It's a private personal training studio, and I've been open a year. And I've, man, was it scary? But I'm so happy I did it. So it's just aligning your gifts and your passions, and helping the most amount of people is what's fulfilling me now. So.
Well, first, I want to just say a huge congratulations as a woman business owner. Like, as you said, the amount that we can give back is just everything. And what you are doing now with your clients and with coaching the clinics, it's so in sync with your whole entire theme, which is just like you just seem to be motivated by what you can give to others. It shows through on every single thing you do. And I'm wondering if almost, when you think about your drive, if you're doing this for you or if you're doing this for others, because everything I've ever heard from you is never like, it's always extremely self-motivated, but it's in the face of what can be done for others.
Yeah, and I just truly believe that's the only way you can really accomplish something special, when it's about others. And I just know that whenever I've been through a difficult time, and when I look back, all the tough times I've been through, I'm grateful for now because they've made me better, they've made me stronger. I've took something positive from each thing. But one of the biggest things that's lifted me through those difficult times is turning my focus onto other people. Like, it's so easy to dwell in what you're going through, and if you will turn your focus to lifting others up during that time, it's crazy how you soon start to feel a lot better, and you think you're actually helping others, but really it's helping you. And I truly believe the more you give, the more you get back. And I've seen it happen time and time again in my life. So that's just a lesson I've really learned early. And I was diagnosed with a rare cancer in 2018, and man, was I just so touched with the outpour of support. Like, I never, I don't know if I would have made it through such a difficult time. And I knew I could never pay it back, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to pay it forward. So from that point on, I've just bound and determined to do at least one small act of kindness every single day. And every speech I give, I challenge the audience to do the same, because you don't realize how just one small little thing can impact somebody's life, so much. Like, whether it's just a handwritten note or an uplifting text or taking somebody to lunch, the power of those small things. So I just, and I also, I know I'm getting long-winded here, but they asked me to be the honorary chair for the Relay for Life that year after I was diagnosed. And I've always told people I've never run a marathon ever. I've had 19 surgeries. Like, I am beat up, and so but I would run a couple miles here and there. And so I had my treatment for cancer in February, and so they asked me to be the chair, and this is in June. So it's June, it's like 3 o'clock. and it's 100 degrees. I mean, it's so hot. So I have this idea. I'm like, what if I could get 10 people to pledge me $10 per lap? Maybe I could raise some pretty good money because you walk laps, to raise money. And so I was like, is there any way I could run these laps? And they're like, well, we haven't had anybody do it for a long time, but I guess we don't see a problem with it. So I get 10 people to pledge $10 because my number is 10. So I'm obsessed. Everything is 10. And so I start running, and I know, I don't know if anybody's seen Rocky, but I started to feel like Rocky because these kids, people started to realize what I was doing, and the word got out. And so I'd have these kids take turns like running laps with me. And my dad is like trying to get me to stop because you could just wring my clothes out. I mean, I was just dripping wet with sweat. And I ended up doing over 100 laps, which equaled 30 plus miles. And I, to this day, like look back at that and think, how in the world? There is no way you could not pay me $10 million to run 30 miles. There's no way I could do that. But that was the power of people coming together for a cause bigger than themselves. Like you had caregivers, you had people that lost loved ones, you had survivors, and just that energy propelled me to do something superhuman. So I've just always took that with me, and remembered that how you can do so many special things when you come together and work together for something bigger than yourself.
That's so important. And we've had a really lot of amazing people on the podcast who have accomplished some incredible things. And the common theme is never that it was for them. It was always something that either happened to them and they wanted to help other people, or it's something of that sort, because it just seems like you said, like the most special accomplishments are done with that as the backdrop. That's really amazing. Let's go back for a second to your early career, being, a young high school girl and having this like incredible amount of, attention and fame from all of these incredible schools. UConn, do like these schools are like dream schools for any basketball player. And like you said, they were all taking the white rental car to come and see
Yeah.
you. um, you signed with UConn and then tore up the papers the next morning and went with a very unlikely choice, which was at the time Southern Missouri State. In your documentary, you say that it was just a gut feeling. Can you talk to us a little bit about how your gut has guided you over the years in that decision?
Yeah. Oh man, that was just a really tough time, a difficult time. And I don't recommend this, but I actually, when I had narrowed it to four schools, it was Missouri State, UConn, Kansas State, and Oklahoma. I mean, I struggled so much that I was watching TV one day and I saw an ad for a psychic hotline. And I was like, that's it. I am calling the psychic, and they're going to tell me where to go because you got so many free minutes. But she's like, well, personally, I'm a Tennessee Lady Vols fan. I'd like to see you go there. So, needless to say, calling the psychic did not help. But she's like, I guess go to UConn. So I signed a letter of intent to play at UConn, and I sleep on it. And I knew in my heart it wasn't where I wanted to go because Missouri State started recruiting me when I was 12 years old. It was actually my very first AAU game I played. And this was literally, I just lost my sister. I'd watched them play in the Final Four. And then I am literally playing in my first AAU tournament the spring after that. They had played in the Final Four. And this coach waits around and says, you know what? If you keep working, you could one day play Division I basketball. We'd love to have you come to our camp. And I just truly, believe I was meant to be a Bear because if they wouldn't have recruited me at that point, there's no way I would have ended up at Southwest Missouri State. It's now called Missouri State. They've had a name change, but it was that where I went to camp, every summer, and I knew the coach would push me to be the best, on and off the floor. And I wanted somebody to really, bring out the best in me and be hard on me. And I knew I would get that from Coach Burnett, and my family would be close enough where they could see me play in person, where if I went to a UConn, they wouldn't be able to afford to, see me play in person much. So that was important. But yeah, it was hard because I went against everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
no one's first choice for me was Missouri State. My mom wanted me to go to Oklahoma. She loved Sherry Cole. And then my dad and my high school coach wanted me to go to UConn. And I just knew in my heart it was where I was meant to be. And, you can listen to other people's opinions, but you are the one that has to live with the decision. And so you can't go wrong if you just truly listen to your heart and your gut. And it sure paid off for me because my experience as a Lady Bear was, best 4 years of my life. And being able to, make a Final Four that people thought was an impossible dream. And so to be able to do that there, and I'll never forget the feeling. And there has not been a mid-major team since make a Final Four, so that's how hard it is what we did. And it was just a special group. And I'm so grateful I trusted my gut in that instance. So
Yeah. I just think that's so relatable for all, for all of us and all of the listeners, hearing this, because there can be, in all the decisions that we make, so much noise around, to the point where you're like, I don't know, I'm gonna call a psychic. Like,
yeah, I know exactly.
Call me now for your free reading.
I've been there, where I'm like, I don't know, there's so many people just like saying some different things. Like, psychic sounds like a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Like, and like sometimes when you made the decision, like you signed the letter of intent, but then you woke up and said like, that
Yeah.
ain't it. So, and just like having enough bravery to be able to say like, I know what my gut's telling me, what logic's telling me, I know what Miss Cleo told me, but but like truly, when we sit within ourselves and think like, but what is it that I want, and what is the best route for me, you knew you knew
Yeah.
exactly what it was. And it turned out to be, the best 4 years of your life, and obviously, led to such a spectacular career and a spectacular experience, which ultimately is the most important thing that you could ask for from those 4 years. Um, so I just think for everyone, it's just like, if you're thinking about calling a psychic,
Yeah. Don't, please, save your time, save your money. Yeah.
you might sleep on
Yeah.
it and wake up the next day.
Pray. Okay, pray would be a better choice. Yes.
Mhm. But it's so relatable. Like, I've been there where I'm like, I don't know, should I do a palm reading? Like,
Yeah.
maybe they know more than I do. I don't know. But truly,
Oh,
like, all like we just know within ourselves what our next path has to be, and that just can translate into every aspect of your life. Um, so you led Missouri State to the Final Four and became the first women's D1 basketball player to ever score 1,000 points in a season. And I know, watching the documentary, like, getting to that 1,000 points was kind of a stressful time because you just wanted to focus on playing. But your teammates and coaches said that you remained incredibly humble throughout that experience, and obviously today too, like coming on the podcast, just doing all that you've done. Was it hard being thrust into the Sports Center spotlight like that? Did you have trouble like adjusting to the fame?
yeah, it was a wild time. I'll never forget. It was like the game before I was kind of projected to break the record. And I was in the state of Kansas, where I'm from, and we were playing Wichita State. And all of a sudden, after the game, this earpiece guy comes up next to me. They had actually hired a professional bodyguard for me, and I'm like, of course, my teammates gave me really a ton of crap for having my own bodyguard, but like that's how wild it was, because I was having a hard time warming up, because people would come down from the stands, and I will never turn down an autograph ever. I had that happen to me when I was younger, and I remember how that felt, and I was like, if anyone ever wants my autograph, I will sign all night long if I have to, but I will not turn down an autograph. So they ended up having to hire a bodyguard just to let me be able to warm up and different things. But and it was everywhere. Like, I was trying to escape it and just focus on what our team was doing, because this was our senior year, our last chance, and there was 5 of us seniors, and we didn't want our careers to end. But there was a lot of noise, and I can't imagine what it would have been like with social media. Well, I got to kind of experience watching Caitlin Clark. I don't know how she juggled all of that, but I always just tried not to read the newspaper articles. So watch the news and just try to shelter myself from that as much as I could, and focus on, what our team was trying to accomplish. And I've always got my confidence through my work ethic, always making sure I got my shots up during that crazy time, because when I stepped on the court, I just knew I could rely on, I've done the work. So just enjoy the moment. But yeah, it was a wild time, and it was a lot. And, the one thing I didn't do well is say no. And I didn't protect myself from, getting enough sleep and doing the recovery things. I was like sleeping 4 hours a night when I turned pro, trying to, please everyone. And I just wish I could almost have a conversation with Caitlin. I hope someone in her camp is protecting her, because I know everybody's going to want a piece of her time, and to try to balance that, it's really difficult. So
Yeah, that's I guess one of the most heartbreaking things about your story was certainly watching that kind of unfold where your body started to break down and it was clear that you were not going to say no to anyone. And then of course you got sick.
yeah,
And it's really, really hard. I think just, women relate to this. They understand how much they will, physically put themselves through, for others. And I think that you are no exception. But I want to talk to you about, your challenges and your setbacks with cancer and with all of the injuries that eventually did end your career. You 19 surgeries. Um, your body in many ways just couldn't do anymore what you were asking for.
yes.
And I want to talk to you a little bit about, your mindset for how you were able to overcome some of these things and come out on the other side, intact.
Yeah, it was, a lot of difficult, experiences. The first one was, when I lost my basketball career, I just had no idea who I was outside of basketball. And, I will tell everybody, please do not have your identity be wrapped up in what you do. It's all about who you are. But if your identity is wrapped up into what you do, I mean, that can be taken away from you in a second. And there's so many highs and lows, and you'll just be on a roller coaster. And I had to learn that the hard way, kind of find out who I was without basketball, because I literally put, all my eggs in one basket, never thought about anything else outside of that. And so it was really a difficult transition, then finding my way into college coaching. And really, when I look at it, I started initially personal training and doing some basketball lessons and camps while I was kind of trying to hold on to my playing career. And then I had so much noise of, you should be a coach, you should be a coach. And I'm glad I did college coaching, because now I can go into this career I'm in now and know that this is where I'm truly meant to be. But man, it was a hard road digging out of, losing my playing career, going through all the injuries, having my identity being wrapped up into that. And, I'll just say, after I was diagnosed with the cancer, and, man, I now have my 5 core values, and if I'm not aligned, I quickly make a decision to be aligned, because none of us are promised tomorrow. So, if you are not happy doing what you're doing, make a change. And I opening my gym was the scariest thing I've ever done. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I thought I had to have everything figured out before, but that's not how it is. You learn by doing. So just go for it. And if you make a mistake, you just, you change it, what you made a mistake of, and you move on. And worst case scenario, you're learning. No matter what the outcome is, even if my gym fails, I've learned so much from my next adventure. But you know what? You have to just throw yourself into it. Don't be scared of it. You will learn as you go, and you'll get better by doing. That's the only way you can do it, because you want to be great at the start, but you can't unless you do it. You just have to get better by doing. So, no, I learned so much through all I've been through. But the other thing cancer's taught me is to be present. Be where your feet are. I'm a much better listener now. Uh, and just truly, to get the most of every moment, you have to be right where you are, where your feet are. And my faith has grown stronger. So many good things have happened through all the difficult times I've been through.
We're interrupting this podcast to tell you about the coolest leggings that have ever been on the planet ever. And if you are going to try to crush this new year, you need them. Why are you laughing?
You sounded like that kid. Have you ever had a dream where have you ever tried the best leggings and then they are sweat proof?
No, it's so true. Sweat proof, squat proof. They are so freaking comfortable and they have pockets. If you're listening to this podcast and you're not currently wearing our leggings, I gotta tell you, you are missing the boat, sis.
You're missing the boat, and the thing is, most people don't know as they start to get new leggings that not all leggings are created equal,
Ooh.
and you don't know that your leggings are see-through until you've been wearing them for a month at the gym and someone gets up the courage to tell you that they've been seeing through. Our leggings never see through, completely squat proof, sweat proof, and they stay up while you're working out. So grab a pair for this new year at constantlyvariedgear.com. You know, one thing with every single successful person that I've ever spoken to, one thing that they always say over and over is you don't need to have it figured out before you start. And it's one of the biggest things that stop people from doing the thing that they want to do, or that this the most aligned with them, or that is their true calling, that they, that they think about it and they're like, well, I don't have it figured out, I don't have all, my ducks in a row. And it's like, no one does. It's the big secret.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the big secret that, like, you, if you ask me, like, I'll tell you, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. We're all trying to figure it out as we go. And any person who has really taken that leap has said that over and over. Like, I didn't have it figured out. I went in with, I'm going to try this thing. And if you do fail, it's a learning experience, but be humble enough to know that you're not going to be good as soon as you start.
yeah, yeah, and it's okay. It's okay because you'll still impact people in a positive way. You will if you have good intentions and you're aligned with what you love. Because if you really love it, you're gonna do it with love. You're gonna have people will see your passion and they'll be forgiving if you make mistakes and you're gonna get better. I mean, gosh, looking at my gym 6 months ago and how we did things to now, I mean, so much better. And we didn't lose any clients because of that. They were all forgiving because we were still making a big difference in everybody's life. So, yes, just go for it. Yes, and you will make mistakes. You won't be perfect, but it has been the most rewarding thing I've ever done because you only grow when you put yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's the only way you can truly, make yourself better.
Hmm. I also just like to highlight too, every person has setbacks. Every person has these challenges that come into your life, and you can either use them as a learning experience, which ultimately, in order to be successful, they have to be a learning experience. They have to be some type of motivation, or you can get stuck in them. And you have done such an incredible job with everything that has kind of come into your path, is using it as a learning experience and not getting stuck and dwelling in a lot of those setbacks that may have been, for a lot of people, just that's you ruminate there, you get stuck there, but you've really used it to your advantage to kind of build and use that growth mindset, which is just an incredible thing to see.
Well, thank you. No, I always just say you can either let it destroy you or let it drive you to be better. And, really, what other choice do you have? You can just lay around and, dwell in it or just keep moving forward. And one of the biggest pieces, that's why I love what you guys do, is fitness for me. I know there's one thing that I need in my life, and that is a workout. And
Same.
I know, yeah, I mean, I can handle anything that comes my way if I just have my workout, and I am so much better. I have a thing on my desk that says, "You're one workout away from a good mood." I mean, and I know most people didn't see the documentary, but in that, I had to go 6 days of isolation treatment for my cancer because I had radiation, and so I only had 30 minutes of visitors, and I couldn't leave the room. And I'm thinking, there is no way in the world I'm going 6 days without a workout. No way. And so my mom was cringing, but I made her bring in my bike and my trainer and I had it set up in my treatment room because I was like, there's no way I'm going 6 days without a workout. And like these doctors and nurses were coming by to see if this was real life, if I really had a exercise bike in my treatment room. But that's how valuable like fitness has been for me. And I really think in my recovery, there was a girl that was similar age, about 3 years younger, similar tumor, was in treatment right next to me. And I got up, I went right back to work. I didn't miss a workout. And just the differences even in our faces, like the swelling, all of it. I just movement is medicine. And so that's why I love what you guys are doing because you are changing so many lives for the better.
I want to ask you a couple of questions, about the WNBA because it is a hot topic right now, but that was such a good segue into the fitness questions that we had that I'm just going to come back to the WNBA because, like, Anytime I hear someone say movement is medicine, I'm like,
I
are
know.
we
Oh,
I'm like
best
myself.
friends?
we I feel like we are. We are like,
Oh, oh, you're speaking my language, sis. So, I mean, you've done some incredibly hard things, and you just said that opening your gym was one of the hardest things that you've ever done. And that, in the kind of scope of your life, is a very impressive thing. Um, you have this incredible studio where you are making a massive difference, personal training and helping people. And I want you to talk a little bit about, the mindset of the franchise of never a quick fix, no magic weight loss pills, and no overnight results. Because I think that is so against the grain as far as fitness goes, that you are doing something really important. And I want to let you talk about that for a minute.
yeah, it's so important to get clients to understand that they have to make it a lifestyle. You have to literally try to just do something active every day. And it's my goal that they want to, work out with or without me. I want them actually to not need me, that they will do it on their own because they realize how it has changed their life. And, we saw like, we'll see where, a client will start 2 times a week and our sessions are 40 minutes long and they're all full body. And then, a 5 minute stretch. So we book every 50 minutes. And, they'll start out at twice a week, but they'll love it so much because it's like a community, it's a family. You're so much easier to do hard things with others and with that support, it just motivates you that much more. And, we'll see people that have never worked out in their life, texting me that they're traveling and they're in a hotel and they are sending me a picture of the workout room and they got their workout in. And little things like, yeah, it's doing your workouts 2 to 3 times a week, but also just moving. And so we found a lot of results, and we had a 15,000 step challenge for the month of January. And man, those people that actually were able to do that, they just shed the weight because it wasn't just 2 workouts and then you can sit and not move. It made them move outside of the workouts. It's just keeping moving, keeping active, you'll see the results, but it's not going to be overnight. You've got to consistently. It's hard. I can't stand when famous people get on different, platforms and say they don't work hard to look like they do. No, you do. You have to make the right choices. And 80% of the time, I'm 80/20 on my diet. There's nothing I rule out. I just try to always get my grams of protein. But 80% of the time, I try to make the right choice. You have to work out consistently. It's hard. It is hard, but you just know it's going to be hard, but it'll be worth it if you make it a part of your life. So,
Yeah, I mean the biggest lie is that it's not hard.
oh,
It's
it
like,
is.
it is hard, but it's
Well,
also
choose
so
your
worth
hard,
it. Yeah, it
you
is.
know?
Yeah.
It's hard to be fit. It's hard to not be fit.
Yeah,
It's hard
it
to,
really is.
yeah, and it's hard to, be sick. And a lot of people are fighting illness. And the one that I recently saw, was like a lot of people say they'd die for your kids, but would you live for them? And just looking at like, would you take care of your health on a daily basis for the people around you? And that's just like such an important switch in how we think about health and fitness and how we can incorporate it into our daily lives with like, this is a lifestyle. It's not going to
Hmm.
happen in a week. It's not this just like, hey, overnight, it's just about weight, or it's just about, some of these like small things. It's like, how can we make this part of your lifestyle for the rest of your life? And I love that you said like, I want them to work out without me. That's one of the, things that's been really important is like, no, I want you to not need me.
Yes,
That's my
yes.
goal.
Yes, I want you to be so addicted like I am that no matter what, whether you have a trainer or you don't, you are going to find a way to get a workout in. And you can get a workout in anywhere. It's so easy. You don't need weights, equipment. You can do so much just with body weight. So just teaching, our clients that the importance of it and how it'll change their life for the better, and they'll change all their loved ones' lives as well for the better because they'll make that a priority, they'll be better in every aspect of their life. So,
Yeah.
Quick
Yeah.
question, Jackie. When everything was, coming to an end with your career, and when, you were diagnosed with cancer, do you think fitness saved you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would be on, antidepressant medicines. I would be on, I mean, there is it absolutely saved me. I would not be right here today if it wasn't for my workouts, and, I've read, different studies that they're gonna start where people that have anxiety and depression, the number one thing they're gonna do to treat it is exercise. I mean, I can testify that some of those really rough times, if I wouldn't have had the ability to work out through those things, I don't know if I could be standing here. It just had such an impact for me, and it's kept me off all those medicines and other things because and it's kept me from being addicted to anything that isn't good because I'm addicted to my workout. So I wouldn't get addicted to anything that could prevent me from being able to work out on a regular basis. I mean, just I can't even put it into words how it's impacted me and what I would be without it. It just I can't even imagine it. So,
Oh, yeah, I feel that in my soul. I know fitness saved me, and
yeah.
I go like,
Oh,
"Hey, I'm real crazy right now. I'm gonna get a workout, and I'm gonna come back, and
yeah.
I'll be so much better."
Isn't it so true? I mean, it's mental, emotional, everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, and even if I can't recognize it before, halfway through my workout, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
I'm a
better. I'm
bitch.
better
yeah.
now." You just like feel
And
that
then
switch.
yeah, you can feel like, "Oh, I know," and then you get all this you're productive, like, my
Mm,
best ideas come on elliptical, so
Yeah,
I do all of my emails and everything, all my work on the elliptical, and so I might spend 3 hours a day on the elliptical, but it's a way that I found to like doing my emails and setting up my camps and stuff. Because if I had to sit at a computer for
yeah,
3 hours every day, I would go crazy, but now I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone, and I say I get to still kinda technically call myself a professional athlete because 'cause I'm working out off and on all day long with my clients when I'm actually in my fitness studio, like, I'm jumping on the elliptical with them or, doing a 300 upper body workout with them, and so off and on all day long, like, I get to do that and actually get paid for it, so,
yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how it impacts you so much. I mean, you start the day without a workout, by the time you get done your workout, you feel like you could conquer the world. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just yeah.
I agree on the idea that I've
Yeah,
started bringing like a piece of paper and a pen into my garage gym because like I found like I've gotten so many good ideas in there that I'm like, oh, I gotta write this down right now. It's
yeah,
so true. I mean, I'm assuming it has to do with like blood flow to the brain. Like you're
Yeah.
yeah,
actually
yeah.
smarter when you're
You
getting
are.
all
You
right.
yeah.
Hot button topic because you mentioned Caitlin Clark. Obviously, there's been a lot of similarities drawn between her career and your career. And the WNBA is hot right now. It's in the press because of this incredible girl who has now graduated and gone on to the NBA, but is making a fraction of what other NBA rookies are being paid in on the men's side of things. So, do you want to talk for a minute about the strides that the WNBA has made in this area and maybe some of the shortcomings that are still very obvious when we see someone like you and Caitlin Clark and compared to what the men are making?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because, you know, back in the day, when I was doing basketball lessons, my clients assumed I was a millionaire, and I'm like, "No, no, no." So I went and I was the 4th pick in the WNBA, and I was, drafted by the Portland Fire, and I went in at the top 4 the highest pay scale, which at that time, for the top 4, it was 55,000. So, at that way back then, the worst player on the men's bench was making 300, 400,000. So then, I was, rookie of the year and still, like, got nothing. I think I got 25,000 from Nike, so just and I'm not complaining, I was happy to have the opportunity, but now you see when you see a Caitlin Clark where in the WNBA, how it's exploded off of, the NCAA tournament and how magical this past season was, well, now, okay, the attendance is just like the men's, and now the TV ratings are higher even. That was the highest viewed game, her game in the NCAA tournament. So now, if that continues, then they definitely deserve to be compensated like the men. I mean, it's amazing what she's done. And when you see somebody so dominant in their craft, it brings not just sports fans, but everybody to watch because it's fascinating to see somebody so dominant and special at what they do, and it inspires everybody. You don't have to be a basketball fan to be inspired by what she's done. So I hope she eventually gets compensated. People are saying like, "Are you upset because she's a multimillionaire? She got paid in college with the NIL money." And I'm like, you know what? No, because I would not probably have pushed myself to be where I am now, and I'm the happiest I've ever been professionally. So I don't have regrets, but now I hope she gets paid like she deserves because she's phenomenal. So
Yeah, I mean, what a great way to look at that. That you're like, no, no, I'm the happiest I've ever been.
That's a
Which
glass half full.
which is just like, I don't know. Sometimes it's such a testament to like where your journey is, where you're meant to be. Is just people are putting success in the wrong scale, in just so many ways. But I do want to, just because like you have so much experience with the WNBA and obviously paving the way for athletes like Caitlin Clark, because when you started saying I want to be a professional basketball player, wasn't really a thing. Like,
mm-mm, no,
and you said it anyway, but like it wasn't even really a thing. And I just want to know, like, from being in that, in the WNBA, what can we do to help? Like, what can just like the WNBA do, or what can we do as people who are watching, or as women entrepreneurs? Like, what can we do to kind of assist in leveling the playing field?
yeah, I just think, obviously keep supporting. One thing, it was crazy. My coach had to tell me to stop driving the lane because my own teammates were beating me up. It just because of like kind of the jealousy here. I came in as a rookie and I got all of this media attention. I hadn't earned it at the professional level, but I couldn't control that. And I've always said, like, it'd be better to average 10 points and win than average 20 points and be on a losing team. Because if you're on a winning team, everybody is going to get more. So just focus on the team winning and everything will take care of itself. And same as I always say, if you want to be good, focus on making yourself better. But if you want to be great, focus on making those around you better. We lift as we rise. We're only competing against ourselves. We're trying to be the very best we can be. It's be better so you can be better for others. And I just think, continue to watch it, buy the WNBA gear. All of those things will help, but always just help somebody young that, where you've been and somebody helped you and the power that had. And so always look to, spend time to help others be better, other young females be better. It's just crazy to me that they can get so competitive and we're all wanting the same thing. So just help each other be great and it all take care of itself. So.
Absolutely. On that note, do you have any advice for young girls coming up in a sport that really have big dreams? Where do you see women's sports for them, and what advice could you give? What are you hoping to see this next
Well,
generation accomplish?
Well, it's exciting because it's just getting better and better. Like for instance, my I held the record for 16 years, and then you had Kelsey Plum break the record, and then right away you had really Caitlin Clark break it within a few years. So it's incredible how the game has grown and the opportunities. Because yeah, when I was looking up to playing basketball, the highest thing you could do is maybe be an Olympic athlete at that time. And now these girls are literally seeing people like Caitlin Clark on TV and they can, see that for themselves and they can dream about that and, see that it's possible. So it's exciting the opportunities that they have. But I would say always keep it fun. You got to have fun. So, because if it becomes work, you're never going to be, the best you could be. So always enjoy every second and, do the work. Like if you want to be great, you're going to have to do the work and then invest in others because, man, it's so critical to have amazing people surrounding you to help you get where you want to get to. That's the only way to do something special is have support around you, and so always invest in others. So I would say those three things are so critical. So
Yeah, that's such a great point. I love that within the same 45 minutes. I'm extremely competitive. Like, I was born competitive. That's part of my nature. However, I lift everyone else around me, and that's part of my success. And I think somehow we've gotten those two things confused a lot of times when we're trying to be our best, and we're being competitive, within ourselves, or just trying to like be the best at whatever it is that we're doing. We think that we have to tear others down almost.
Yeah, no.
And it's like the opposite of that.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Like we rise together. And like you want to be
yes.
competitive, you want to be the best, like make sure you're surrounded by people who you also want them to be their best selves.
Yes, it's so true. And yeah, it is crazy how so many people don't have that mindset because if the people around you are better, that's going to only make you better, you
Mhm.
know? And so, yeah, strive to make those around you better and then find people that are better than you or have done what you want to do and learn from them. I mean, that's the only ways you got to learn from what they did right, learn from their mistakes and, surround yourself with those people that are positive and believe in you and can help you get where you want to get to.
Well, that's certainly what we were hoping to provide our listeners by having you on is, giving an example of someone who has walked an incredibly difficult road and has done it with such poise and such grace and accomplished such amazing things for women everywhere, especially women in sports. So we just want to thank you so much for all you have done for the sport of basketball, but especially for the ability for little girls to look up and see a hero that they want to be. Because, as you said, there wasn't one for you.
Mm.
And it's really important that it's women. I know you said your hero is Michael Jordan, and that's a spectacular hero.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really nice to see someone who is like you and would have to
Yeah,
travel a
people.
similar road.
Yeah. Yes, yes, no, for sure. So I'm excited now the young girls have that opportunity. And it was really cool for me because I got to recruit Caitlin Clark, and she actually said in a national paper that we were the first to recruit her because I always did what Missouri State did to me. So I'd watch the middle school girls, and I knew she was going to be something special. Now, I could have never imagined she would turn out to be what she is today, but I actually wrote her first recruiting letter. Unfortunately, it didn't work. We didn't get her at Missouri State, but wow, to see how she has just exploded the game of women's basketball is just it's been incredible. So I celebrate her for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Jackie, you have been so inspiring for so many people, but for us today, coming in, having watched your documentary, and like, oh my God, we get to talk to her today.
Mhm.
It's so great. And like, what a great day to be alive.
Yeah. Yes, I'll spend. You guys make me feel so special. I'll spend every day with you if you want.
Thank you. Thank you. I said to Rachel, I was like, man, we're so lucky we get to do what we do every day because like we get to talk to amazing people like you. But I want to tell our listeners where they can hear more from you, or where they can find you, where they can see more from you because you're incredible.
Yeah, if I can help anyone in any way, please reach out to me at JackieStiles.com. It'll go directly to my email, and I respond to every single email. It might take me a day or two if I'm traveling, working camps and stuff. But yeah, again, JackieStiles.com. And I'd love to hear from anyone if there's anything I can do to help, whether it's a workout or nutrition advice, or if you guys are ever in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know if you ever get this way, but please look me up in my fitness studio. I'd be honored to take you through a workout if you're ever in this area. So,
Oh, awesome. I'll make it a point to be in that area.
Right?
I'm like, I would have no other
Not
reason to go to
bragging,
Missouri.
but like Jackie Stiles did offer to take me through a workout. I'm not bragging or anything.
Like, Kelsey, why are you in Missouri? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
yeah.
Don't.
Where are you?
I
yeah.
know, right? You have no reason to go there, but you will find your way there.
Thank you, Jackie. This has been such a pleasure, and we so appreciate you coming on. And just know if you want to reach out to Jackie, she's going to be answering from her elliptical. So
yeah, exactly.
we love you. Thank you.
All right. Love you guys too. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.